This is Parallel Frequencies with Just Blane. And on the other frequency, it is Coco over there. What's up, Coco?
Doing great. Doing great over here. How are you doing, freaks? Everybody being freaks with me today?
Did you know that our captions in text and everything is already picking it up as FREQS other than freaks? It is.
We want you to know it's with love that we call you this name.
It's actually, you know what? It's really an extension. We are an extension of the mutant family, and that's what Joe Bob's fan club and all his people are. And I'm a proud member of the mutant family. So I want people to be proud to be freaks out there, you know? Like,
yeah, we are.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, you know? I'm a little congested today, if you can't tell. And I don't think it's the flu. I don't think it's anything crazy. I think it's this shitty air that we're breathing. We live, you know what? Let me just tell people, we live in a city that had the worst air in the country this week.
Yeah.
And if you think, let me give you a guess, oh, it's maybe some industrial city, you know, like Detroit or, you know, New York or
yeah,
LA even, you know, smog out there. No. South Jordan. Utah.
People don't realize what that inversion actually looks like and feels like when you live in a valley between mountains. It can be real bad.
This could end up putting me in the dirt. I feel like this could put me in the dirt. And I lived in LA for 10 years, breathing the smog that was so bad. And I swear I'm not sick. I swear it's the air quality here. So if you hear me over here snorting, snotting, sniffing, I'm sorry, okay? It's human, it's normal, it's natural. But I don't think this air is very natural of what's going on. It's seriously gonna put me in the dirt. Gonna have to have my own funeral.
Yeah. You know, I've been itchy. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I just want that documented in case governments have to come in here and test the water and test the air and figure out what they've been feeding us and breathing, what we've been breathing.
Yeah.
I've been like itchy.
It's almost like the upside down right here in Salt Lake.
Yeah. Speaking of, I've been watching the documentary. I'm not done with it yet. Or my impression of Millie Bobby Brown is, I'm not done with it yet.
Yes.
I will talk about it when I'm done with it. I'm watching it now, but I haven't gotten it all done yet. That's my impression.
That's a good Millie Bonbon impression. I'm not gonna lie. I like that. You know what I didn't realize was that Jonathan was British as hell also.
Oh.
So that's why he seemed so awkward on the screen to me at all times, is because he's been faking an American accent for 10 years.
Yeah.
This guy's British. As far as I could tell, he was British. He's from the UK. He's got a thick, heavy British accent. And I'm thinking, oh, now I get it. You know?
Yeah, I could see it. And I want to just let people know, I think I can actually do a better job than that. But when put on the spot and performing, I tend to ham it up a little bit. I really think that I could do a lot better. It's okay, though.
I mean, we'll get there. We'll get you a shot. If the air don't put us in the ground and nobody's coming to our funeral, I'm sure you'll get a shot. There was and it should have been loud if you ask me. Do you realize that?
I saw the goodbye send-off videos that were coming out on social media, probably created by AI, I'm sure. But it was sad. It was sad to watch all of the old shows and everybody that was on those shows. It was like Carson Daly, and they were like shutting the lights off. Everybody's done. It was, yeah.
Were you a MTV kid? Did you come home, running home, watch TRL and all that kind of stuff?
100%. 100%. I loved all the, It was always like, what's going to be in the top 10? What's going to be, you know, watching all the music videos and the what was that show where everybody was all summer long having a party at the pool all summer? Everybody in bikinis.
Was it not The Real World?
Well, that too. I forgot about that show. I watched that show too.
You're talking about like they had like Club La Vila where they just aired the live club scene in like Panama City. They did some stuff like that. I remember that. MTV at some point stopped being the place that we hung out, you know. it was the place that our parents didn't quite approve of maybe, but they couldn't explain why. They couldn't tell us why, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I remember vividly a memory of when I was really little. My sister was a baby, so I must have been 5. And we had babysitters, teenage girls over to watch us, 2 of them. So they were best friends. And I don't think they ever came back. I think this was the only time that they babysat us. But they turned on MTV, which I probably didn't watch a lot when I was 5, but it had music videos that were just creepy enough for my 5-year-old self to be hiding behind the couch and like, what is this? Rock and roll music, you know, people with needles in their face. I don't know what was going on, but it was just kind of like a little, it felt enough grown up, that MTV, that I was like, I know I'm not supposed to be watching this until I was a teenager.
It felt wrong. It felt like, and like I said, your parents told you couldn't watch it, but they didn't really know why, you know, because this was all, if you look at it now, it was all a place of discovery. It was, you never knew when you were going to tune in and catch a video like that, or a Bone Thugs and Harmonies, see at the Crossroads a million times, you know, or Carson Daly doing his thing. You never knew if you were going to tune in and hear Kurt Loder break the news that Tupac Shakur was dead. I remember that happening, or that Kurt Cobain was dead. That was a big one.
Yeah.
You know, that's the place it was, and it lost that at some point. And I think it was probably when the reality shows kicked in, and, you know, it kind of got watered down.
Other stuff. Yeah. Not just music, but other things. And my favorite thing that came from it, still one of my favorite things of all time. I wasn't a huge Beavis and Butthead fan. I mean, it was just kind of like humor that I was like over. I'm like, hey, those guys are already in my class every single day. I don't need to hear them on TV all the time. But what came from it was Daria. Oh, Daria is my girl. Loved Daria.
What a show. That's a great show too. We should go into that one time, one day, Wistful Wednesday, because that's what we're doing here. This is Wistful Wednesday. But you know what? MTV wasn't gone for long, because there's a genius out there, a real treasure to the world, let's say, because someone went out of their way and recreated MTV, and it's called MTV Rewind. This is what it looks like right here. I want my MTV Rewind, and if you go in, nothing but they aired. And if you look on the side, you can go through. This was the very first day of MTV. They've got every piece of footage that there was, and they even have the commercials that we would have seen. Is that not insane?
Love that.
MTV Rewind. And I think they get everything right, because they, you know, didn't just recreate the look, but they recreated the trust. And that's what it was. They built a trust. MTV had a trust with this audience, with us, with the people who were watching it. You know, it was the idea that you might tune in and see something weird, brilliant, slightly unfinished. They didn't polish everything. It wasn't overly produced. And I think them doing that in real time in front of the public made us trust them even more, you know? And that's what they lost along the way. So I'm glad that some generous soul, maybe plural souls, whoever, took the time and put this back together. I'm going to let this thing just rip in the background of my life, I think. Not right now, because I don't want it to bleed through our show, but yeah. I didn't even realize MTV, as big as MTV was, and that's sad to say was, because it's dead. But as big as it was, it should have went out in a blaze of fucking glory. Am I right? I didn't even realize. Didn't even know it was gone.
Yeah. End of an era for all of us that grew up with that.
Kind of brings us into what we're talking about. Brings us into the right frequency here, you know? The NeverEnding Story is our Wistful Wednesday movie. And it's another one of those things that didn't just play on the screen, you know? It raised an entire generation, emotionally unsupervised, might I add, because who the hell greenlit this? with this amount of emotional weight for children, who in their right mind greenlit this? They didn't have kids, I don't think. But it did. It raised us. This movie raised us, really. And it trusted kids. This movie, NeverEnding Story, trusted kids with big feelings that we may not have been ready for yet. Loss, fear, responsibility, imagination as survival, in which, you know, that hits me deep as a creative. And I think that's what it was, you know? So why did this movie work so well? With all of that heavy weight off the top, what do you think? Like, why did it work so well?
I think it's all the layers. And I think you're right. I think that the themes here of imagination, when I thought back on what I viewed it as a kid watching it versus now as an adult watching it, I get a completely different perspective, because I think as a kid, I was kind of like, oh yeah, of course, imagination, of course, like we love it. It kind of reminds me of Barney was on TV a lot when I was a kid. I mean, I'm a little older than Barney, but looking back at the themes on Barney was like, you don't need anything else, just your imagination. Or SpongeBob would go, imagination, and a rainbow would appear. So you're just kind of like fed that whole, yeah, cutesy, it's all the things, whatever. But as an adult watching the NeverEnding Story, you realize, wow, it's so much more than that. It's not just that kitschy, oh, we've heard it a million times. Imagination is great, just use your imagination. But it goes way deeper into it. And there's all of these layers. In fact, I saw somebody online that was breaking down the themes of the book and how it related to Jungian philosophies of psychology in moving from being a kid and detaching from your parents and becoming, somebody of your own. So it's this stay a kid, stay whimsical, don't give up on your dreams. It's okay to have your head in the clouds. Don't listen to dad who's telling you to put both feet on the ground. And then there's also this, but you're also becoming an adult. You're making your own way in the world. You're detaching from your parents' ideas of what was right or wrong and finding your own way. It's all these things. So you just get layers upon layers upon layers. And I was writing furiously all these notes when I was watching it again just recently.
It's not just a fantasy movie. It's a user manual for being a human when you watch it as an adult. It really is. I mean, you got a kid that's grieving, avoiding reality, hiding stories because real life's too heavy. And like I said, instead of telling him to man the hell up, the movie says, well, what if you use your imagination to survive, and that's kind of what it is. It's the inner life that we abandon, I think is what it really does. Yeah. Hit harder when you're an adult watching this flick. You got a lot of emotions in this. A lot of disconnection also, and trauma and fear throughout, like,
for sure.
It was existential trauma for a kid. There was no jump scares, though. This movie wasn't like that. It was a kid family movie. It is a family movie. Still watched, now. But it kind of just looked at you and it's like, well, what happens when hope runs out? And that's when the imagination stuff has to kick in. And you've got to come out of whatever bubble you were in, whatever nothingness or whatever, you got to come out of that and be ready for it.
Yeah. Let's talk about that nothing. To me, as I was sitting there thinking about the themes and symbolism in this movie and what they bring about for us to think about, the true villain. Okay, so let's just talk about who is the villain in this story? Who or what? Because as a kid, it was maybe so abstract that before our brain is developmentally able to really process this kind of thing, which doesn't even start until you're 8 years old, this abstract thinking, being able to inference, things like that, it's really difficult to understand, well, who's the bad guy here? Because at the very beginning, the opening scene, when the rock biter sits down, this isn't the opening scene, but like when we first get an idea of it, was Rockbiter is talking about his home and it was just so full of that delicious limestone and quartz, and my home was so beautiful, and there was this beautiful lake, and then there was nothing. And they're like, well, does that mean the lake dried up? Was it a dried up lake? And he's like, no, because there was nothing. And he goes, well, was there a hole? And he goes, a hole would be something. This was nothing. I remember that as a kid and being so confused. What do you mean nothing? What does that even look like? What is that even? It's just too abstract. So when you get old enough to actually think about it, and this comes up again with Morla, my favorite character, Morla, that big giant tortoise that comes out of the hill. Oh my gosh, it's just one of my favorite scenes ever, with Atreyu in the tree, and he keeps like falling out of the tree in the mud and has to climb. I don't know why I loved it so much as a kid, but I did. I would pretend to be like trolling through mud. Anyway, Morla is kind of highlighting the actual villain. What is the nothing? And I think it's apathy.
It is.
As an energy person, I know that apathy on the energy scale, if enlightenment is at the top, and that's 1,000, and you have, just self-awareness, and that's 250. Okay, we have energy levels going on here. Apathy is only at 50. So out of 1,000 energy level, apathy is 50. Think about how many people on this planet are walking around feeling like apathy is the safest place to be, where they don't feel a lot of pain, but they're okay with that because at least they don't have to feel all that pain. They don't get to feel any joy either. They don't get to rise up energy levels to something that would be joyful, but they don't have to go lower. So they'll just stick with 50. Apathy. Just that feeling of like, it doesn't matter. Morla's words, we don't even care whether or not we care. That was my impression, by the way.
I love that. And that's what the nothing really is. Like you're saying, it's not evil. No. It's not. But doesn't that feel real familiar in 2026 right now? Like people stop believing that stories matter, and there's a slow deterioration of meaning just overall,
Yeah, and it makes sense why people would want to hang out there in apathy. I mean, when you're looking at the news and you're looking at what's going on and you feel really hopeless and you feel really helpless, I have no power here. I can't go out there and change our administration or the people getting harmed or things that are going on. I can't do anything about it from here. I'm just one person and I don't know what to do. And I wish things could be different. Which, by the way, that disassociation of, having your head in the clouds or living in the books or living in an imagination world, it's our coping strategy. It's our, this is Bastion's way of being like, I can't deal with the grief of losing my mother. So disassociating into another world, it just feels safer. It just feels like that's where I need to be. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to reiterate, there's a little bit of balance in both. Dad's not completely wrong when he says you got to have feet on the ground. There is a balance between being a grounded person and being, head in the clouds, disassociating from everything. But being able to face it and being able to just address that hopeless feeling, which is what the nothing is feeding on, or Gmork. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
The wolf.
This movie, we'll talk about the wolf, but this movie really trusted kids with the truth. I respected that. I respected that as a child watching it and as an adult watching it back, that they did. They put the truth out there for the kids, and it wasn't really hold your hand, everything's okay. It was a different way about it. But that wolf was wild, right?
Yeah. I mean, what does the wolf represent? What is the symbol of the wolf? Because he's kind of the information, if there was something that we were inferencing that was symbolic about the nothing or about everything that was going on with Atreyu's journey, with the Empress's illness, with Bastion's part to play in all of this. But then you have Gmork, who is like, he's just going to say the thing. And he's the one that gets to say, people have no hope. Because when people have no hope, they're easier to control. And the person who has the control has the power. So we as kids, that's terrifying already, because they make it terrifying, this wolf face with the teeth and the darkness. And I remember being like, whoa, what's going on here? This is really scary. But also that feeling of it's a little scary because Atreyu finally gets to that place on the border of Fantasia, and he has the pictures on the wall of his journey. I remember that feeling when I was a little kid, being like, wait a minute. Why? How did they know? How did they know that he just went through all that? What does this mean? What are we seeing here? Already a little bit like it's throwing it in your face, right? But then for Gmork to be like the one who's going to say the thing and say like, we need people hopeless. We need people having no hopes and no dreams, because then we can control them.
And that's scary, because then creativity becomes a metric. You know, it's like something that is actually measured. Art becomes just content, you know, and it's not really in the genres that we have now, because, once again, don't care, first of all, and no hope, no dreams keeps me from being able to do it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so it hits you in the face, you know?
Yeah.
This movie had a lot of moments that need you. They need the audience. It's not a passive movie for an audience member to watch, you know? Saying the name out loud. You got to participate. You got to believe. They telling you to do all this, you know? And I think that's something that really connected to the viewer at home too. I mean, this movie is what? I'm 40 years old, 35, 40 years old, and it's still just as good as when you watch it the first time. It just hits harder.
Yes.
You know, you do start peeling back the onion layers and seeing some of it and realizing it wasn't just a movie that had a big, cute, fluffy dog that we love, by the way. That's my favorite character, Falcor.
We love him.
I mean, I got a Falcor blanket right here. It's not made out of him or nothing, but look, it's, you know, same type of.
Everybody wanted their Falcor dragon pet to fly them around when you saw this movie, right? That was my dream.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The twist, it still has a twist too. The movie's got a twist, and that still hits, you know?
Yeah.
It'll
Does
never
it give
get
you
old.
chills?
Yeah. Yes.
It does for me. And I think the Empress is kind of the key to all of this here. She's not making a major role here. She doesn't get to be the hero. She doesn't get to be the one that goes on the hero's journey like Atreyu does, and Bastion. Both are the heroes of this story in their own right. But the Empress plays a really interesting part. And by the way, I absolutely refer to this movie every time I'm doing a tarot reading. The Empress card in a tarot reading is my favorite card. And whenever somebody gets the Empress card and it feels like this is the message or this is what they're getting out of it, I refer to this movie every time. Because to me, this childlike Empress is even more Empress-esque than what the Empress card in the tarot would normally show you. Normally, there's like a pregnant woman, right? As an Empress. She's motherly. She's about fertility. This is a child, but you know what I love about the image that they created in this movie is she's in this giant, luxurious bed full of pillows and soft blankets. If there is not one thing that feels like the Empress to me, it's this image, this Empress right here. She's got this beautiful headdress on. The actress who played her, holy cow, the tears in her eyes when she looks at the camera and she says, "Say it, Bastion, give me my name, please." That part gives me chills every time. But when she says at the very end,
Yeah,
Yes, thank
Tammy
you.
Stronach is the actor there. So yeah, and didn't do much else after that. So after this movie, but go ahead. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I know there's a NeverEnding Story 2. I've known that since I was a kid, and I cannot bring myself to watch it because I saw from the cover that it was not her, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, the cast is not the same. I can't. It might be brilliant. I have no idea. I'm just saying I couldn't do it. But when she says at the end, and I think this is getting to your point about it being like where the NeverEnding Story actually comes in. And I don't know if I ever got this until I watched it as an adult. But at the end, when she says to Atreyu, he is listening to every word we say. He's been with you on this entire journey. And there are those listening now that have been with him on his journey. They were with him in the bookstore. They were with him when he found the, what is it called? Oren. The Oren symbol on the book, and he took the book. So there's this moment where she's talking, and it's the cadence of her voice, and it's this mystical kind of magical just way that she reaches right through the camera, right through the screen, and she just grabs you. And I don't know if I got it until I was an adult. I honestly don't think I caught that until I was watching it, and I went, oh, that's us. She's talking about us. We are watching Bastian, and Bastian is reading about Atreyu. And then you get this Matrix moment. I don't know if you got it, but I got it. This Matrix moment where you go, is there someone watching and reading about me right now?
Yeah.
It's the NeverEnding Story.
And it's incredible how it comes together like that. But you absolutely start questioning things. And everybody out there wants to be the main character in their own life. They want to be the main character. So why wouldn't there be somebody else out there writing about us and reading it all at the same time? If you believe in parallel universes, it's happening somewhere.
Someone is, and we're just all in a simulation, and we're not, it's possible I'm not really real. Like, what if really real means that you're in that universe creating our universe out of stories? Like, we're Fantasia. Our entire world that exists right now only exists because of someone else's imagination. Bam.
The story never ends because we keep needing it. We need this. Every generation finds their own Fantasia, their own nothing, their own reason to believe again.
Yeah.
It's
the tie-in with the spark of creation, which is, kind of like when Fantasia finally crumbles and all that's left is this grain of sand, this little glowing light. And the Empress is handing it to Bastian. And we're used to, as kids, listening to stories about how you can make wishes. There's always a limitation on it, right? There's it's 3 wishes. Or if you make a wish, something's going to go horribly wrong. Like you're going to wish for, food or something, and then you end up with a house packed to the rafters with food. Something goes wrong, right? You word it wrong, that's what we're used to in folklore most of the time. But in this movie and in this story, when she says you can make as many wishes as you want, and the more you wish, the more fantastic Fantasia will become. There's this moment of unlimited imagination, unlimited wishes. That sounds almost unreal, impossible. And we're being given this opportunity to just be handed this little spark of it exists when you make it exist. When you make it up, it becomes. So, I mean, in folklore, in the folklore that I study, this is the story of Caradwyn and Caradwyn's cauldron. She is making a potion called Awen, and Awen is the spark of inspiration. It's that thing that makes you create whatever into existence, that the idea that pops into your head. It's wisdom, it's prophecy, it's all of those things. So when she holds this little ball of light, that was what I thought of, was Awen. It's Awen.
I love that. We got to get more stories from you. You seem like you've got
a lot of stories.
Yeah, but I always get hooked on them. I'm like, all right, let's cuddle up in our blankets. Let's kick back around the warm, cozy fire and listen to Coco tell stories. You know,
it's my favorite thing to do. Yeah, just follow my Substack, and you can listen. I'm gonna start putting more stories out there on that. Some of them that I'm writing myself, so I'm putting them out there. But yeah,
let me ask you this then: do you believe that people believing in stories is harder now? Is it harder for people now than maybe when it was the NeverEnding Story when it came out or something? You know,
I think that there's more. I don't think that there's more or less that believe or don't believe. And tell me what you think, if you think this is true. I see a split, like a divide happening where it's like the people who are hard and fast on, yeah, that's a cute little kids movie and it's fine and whatever, but real magic doesn't exist, right? That's hocus pocus, that's Harry Potter, that's fictional. They still believe in a very hard divide between fiction and nonfiction, and there is no crossover. But I think there's a lot of people also wakening up to the idea that things aren't that black and white. There is actually real magic in the world. And yeah, we may have made made this story out of movie magic, which is a lot of, strings and puppetry. And obviously a lot of work went into that. But what is this story trying to tell us about the magic that is actually accessible in our own lives? And I think the emotional aspect of this movie is key to it. Not apathy, but addressing what it is there really is in front of you. So I think that the gnome witch says it best when she says something like, it has to hurt to heal. There is real key to magic, like real magic in that if you're not willing to face it, if you're not willing to see it head on, then it won't heal. It won't become, right? It's painful and magical all at the same time.
Yeah. If it don't hurt, it don't work then, right?
I know. I think I took that a little too literally as a kid, because I would get like a sore in my mouth or something. And I would think, oh, I have to press on it and make it hurt really bad so that it'll heal.
Oh, yeah.
Not what it means, but
a little sadomasochist over there, huh? Man,
what's your final? It's gotta heal.
What's your final thought on NeverEnding Story?
I think that deep within the depths of the story and in the characters themselves is the answers to life. I think they're there. So if you're willing to watch it in a new light and not just imagination, it's all pretty and rainbows. If you're willing to hear what the messages are, it's there. I think it's all there.
I like that. To me, it's big picture here. Maybe the real tragedy isn't that MTV ended or that Fantasia faded, but it's when we stop believing stories can save us. And if you're still listening, that tells me you haven't. Stay curious, stay weird, stay a freak, protect your imagination like it's the air you breathe.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, seriously, protect it. And protect the kids, your kids, all of it. Anybody's imaginations. Protect it like it's the air we breathe. And I mean that. Until next time. Just Blane and Coco, parallel frequencies. See ya.